Today we are going to see one more scenario, and as the title said, deploy the Iron Gallery and the Iron DB on the Kubernetes complete DevOps setup. So let's see the today's scenario in detail. There is an Iron Gallery app that DevOps team was developing, and they have recently customized the app and are going to deploy the same on the Kubernetes cluster. Below you can find more detail. Create a namespace, name as the Iron namespace DevOps. Then create a deployment Iron Gallery deployment DevOps for Iron Gallery under the same namespace you created. Then label run should be Iron Gallery, replica count should be 1, selector match label run should be Iron Gallery, template label run should be Iron Gallery under the metadata. Container should be named as the Iron Gallery container DevOps. Use the text image name and tag. Resource limit for memory should be 100 MI and CPU should be 50 M. First volume mount name should be config and it mount path should be user share nginx HTML data. Second volume mount name should be image. It mount path should be user share nginx HTML upload. First volume name should be config and give it empty dir, and second volume name should be image and give it the empty dir. Create a deployment RNDB deployment DevOps for RNDB under the same namespace. Label the DB should be MariaDB. Replica count should be 1. Selector should match label should be DB should be MariaDB. Template label DB should be MariaDB under metadata. The container name should be RNDB container DevOps. Use this image, use the same name and tag. Define the environment variable. Set MySQL database is value should be database blog. Set MySQL root password and MySQL password and value should be with the some complex password for DB connection and MySQL user value should be any custom user expect root. Volume mount name should be db and it mount path should be var lib mysql. Volume name should be db and give it an empty dir. Create a service for RNDB which should be named RNDB service DevOps under the same namespace. Configure aspects as the selected DB and should be MariaDB. Protocol should be TCP port and target port should be 3306 and its type should be cluster IP. Create a service for Iron Gallery which should be named Iron Gallery Service DevOps under the same namespace. Configure aspects as the selector. Runs should be the Iron Gallery and protocol should be the TCP port and target should be T. Node port should be 32678 and its type should be node port. So before going to the YAML file, let's see what we have discussed above in the short form. How what we are going to learn in this, learn how to deploy the real world application stack on Kubernetes using the best practice. In this hands-on tutorial we shall walk through the deploying the Iron Gallery frontend and RNDB backend using the custom configuration, resource limit, environment variable and services. You shall learn how to create and manage the Kubernetes namespace, deploy application with resource constraint, configure the volume mount using the mtdir, set up the environment variable for a secure database access, expose services using the cluster IP and node port, use the label and selector for efficient port management. We are going to deploy one front-end application and then we are going to deploy one backend database. So we have the multiple component like deployment, namespace, namespace and other things. So let's see the YAML file for the same, how we are going to achieve this one. So first one is the YAML file of the namespace. API version is v1, kind is namespace, metadata of namespace is rn namespace DevOps. Then we have the deployment for the front end, and front end deployment is API version is v1, kind is deployment, metadata, name of the metadata, name of the our front end deployment is the rn gallery deployment DevOps. Then we have the namespace, name of in which our deployment is going to happen. Then aspects we have the one replica count. Then selector the match level we are going to match with the iron gallery. Template metadata we have the level iron gallery only. Then in the aspects of container name this one, image this one. Then we have the resource of this pod. Limit we are going to use the memory 100 MI and CPU 50 M. Volume mount, the first mount is the config we are going to mount in this path. The second one is image we are going to mount in this path. Then we have the volume name for the config is mtdir and image is also mtdir. It means this volume will be there until the port is there, means it's for temporary purpose. Then we have the deployment for the backend and the API version same as the FB1 deployment, kind is deployment, metadata, then the DB name, then we have the namespace in which our deployment is going to happen. The replica we are going to take one, then selector match label DB, MariaDB, then template metadata and label, then MariaDB. Then aspects container name we have the RNDB container DevOps, then image we are going to use. Then in this deployment we have some environment variable. First environment variable is MySQL database. Value is the database underscore blog. Then MySQL root password we are going to give this password. Then next variable is MySQL password. Then we are going to use this password. Then name MySQL user, then iron user. We are going to mount this one on this path, and we are going to use the volume as the mtdir only. Then we have the service. First service is the we have then let's go to the service. API version is v1, kind is service, metadata name of the service is rndb service DevOps, and we are going to deploy in this namespace. Then selector we have the MariaDB protocol TCP and the port 3306. Target port we have the 3303 and type is cluster IP. Means it going to internally connect with database and the front ends application. Then we have the another service with a node port which are going to access by externally to the front end application. Then API version is v1, kind is service, metadata name we have the rn gallery and namespace in which we are going to deploy this service. Then aspect selector we have the rn gallery. For ports we have the TCP protocol 80 and the target port 80 and node port we are going to use this 32678. Then we are going to apply that YAML on our production cluster. Then we can see namespace is created, deployment is created, uh, both deployment create service, two service are created. Then we can verify same thing in the namespace. Then we can see the two port created, two service created, two deployment created, and two replica set created. So let's see how we are going to achieve in our production clusters. So let's first copy the YAML file. Let's copy it. So we have copied it. Now this is our production cluster. Let's create one file. Let's say pod YML, then paste it whatever we have copied, then apply it kubectl apply hyphen f for dot yml. So we can see the namespace created, both deployment created, both service created. Same thing we can confirm by running the kubectl get all, then hyphen n namespace. So we can see both pod are created, both service are created, both deployment are created, both replica set are created. Now let's access this application by the help of node port and the node IP. So I've given here. Now let's refresh it. So we are able to access our browsers. It means our application is running fine on the Kubernetes cluster. So in this way we can deploy the front end and the back end application on the Kubernetes cluster. Thank you and happy learning. See you in the